Once upon a time, before there was any time at all, there was a great big nothing. Imagine the darkest dark you have ever seen, and then imagine it was even darker than that. It was a deep, silent, empty space. There were no trees to rustle their leaves in the wind. There were no birds to sing their morning songs. There were no little children to laugh and play. There was no up, and there was no down. There was just a quiet, waiting emptiness, like a secret that hadn't been told yet. It was a world without form, a watery, shapeless place waiting for a story to begin. But someone was there. God was there. His love was so big, so wonderful, it couldn't be kept inside. It had to come out. It had to make something beautiful. So God looked at the dark, watery nothingness, and he had a plan. It was a perfect plan, a plan filled with light and laughter and life. It was a plan to fill up all the emptiness with his goodness. The Spirit of God hovered over the waters like a mother hen getting ready to care for her chicks. He was about to do something brand new, something that had never been done before. He was about to speak, and when God speaks, amazing things happen. The world holds its breath. God didn't need any tools or any help. He didn't need a rule book or a map. All he needed was his own voice. He was going to whisper the world into being. He was going to sing the stars into the sky. His words are so powerful, they make things happen. His words are full of life and love. He was ready to start the greatest story ever told, the story of his wonderful world and the people he loved more than anything. The deep, dark quiet was about to be broken by the most wonderful sound. So there, in the quiet before the beginning, God was ready. He was getting ready to create. He was about to make everything out of nothing at all. He was going to paint a masterpiece, not with paint, but with his words. He was going to build a home, not with bricks, but with his love. Every single thing he was about to make would be a little piece of his heart, a little note in his beautiful song. And it all started with a simple whisper into the darkness, a whisper that would change everything, forever and ever. The great big empty space was about to become a great big beautiful home. So God leaned over the quiet dark waters and he whispered, "Let there be light." And just like that, poof, light exploded into the nothingness. It was a beautiful, brilliant light that chased all the shadows away. It danced on the water and filled every corner of the emptiness with its warmth and its glow. God saw the light and he smiled. He saw that it was good, it was very good. He separated the light from the darkness. He called the light day, and he called the darkness night. And that was the very first day, the world's first morning and its first evening, a perfect beginning. On the second day, God looked at all the water everywhere. It was a big, watery jumble. So he spoke again. "Let there be a space to separate the waters," he said. And with his words, he stretched out a great big, beautiful sky, like a giant blue dome. He lifted some of the water up high and left the rest of the water down below. He called this amazing space sky. Now there was a beautiful blue blanket stretching out over the world. It was a place for clouds to float and for the sun to shine. It was a canopy of wonder, and God saw that it too was very, very good. On the third day, God's powerful voice spoke to the waters below. "Let the waters gather together in one place," he commanded, "and let dry ground appear." At once the waters obeyed. They rushed together to form great deep oceans and sparkling seas, and where the water used to be, rich brown earth pushed its way up. God called the dry ground land, and he called the gathered waters seas. He looked at the mountains and the valleys, the shores and the plains, and he saw that it was all so good. He had made a place for things to grow and for people to walk. But God wasn't finished with the third day just yet. The new land looked a little bare, so God said, "Let the land sprout with green things." And suddenly, the whole world burst into color. Tiny seeds sprouted and grew into tall, strong trees with leafy branches. Brightly colored flowers opened their faces to the sky, filling the air with their sweet perfume. Green grass spread like a soft carpet over the hills. There were apple trees and orange trees and every kind of plant you can imagine, each with its own seeds to make more and more. God looked at his beautiful green garden world, and he knew it was wonderful. It was perfectly, wonderfully good. On the fourth day, God looked up at his big, beautiful sky. It was lovely, but it needed some lights to mark the time, to be signs for the seasons, the days, and the years. So God spoke again into the quiet. "Let there be lights in the sky," he said. And then he made two great lights. He made a bigger, brighter light to rule the day, the sun. It shone down with a golden, happy light warming the new earth. And he made a smaller, gentler light to rule the night, the moon. It glowed with a soft, silvery light, a friendly face in the darkness. He also scattered the night sky with handfuls of glittering stars like tiny, twinkling diamonds. Then came the fifth day, and God wanted to fill his world with movement and sound. The waters were beautiful, but they were silent. The sky was vast, but it was empty. So God said, "Let the waters teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the sky." And immediately, the seas came alive. Great whales swished their giant tails, and tiny seahorses danced in the seaweed. Schools of shiny silver fish darted through the water, and up in the air, birds of every color soared and swooped on the wind. Eagles with their mighty wings and tiny hummingbirds with their fast-beating hearts. The world was now filled with splashing and singing. God looked at all the new creatures he had made. He saw the fish swimming and the birds flying, and he loved them. He saw that they were good, so he blessed them. He said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number and fill the water in the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth." It was his way of saying, "Go on, have families. Fill my beautiful world with your life and your song." He wanted his world to be a busy, happy place, teeming with the life that he had spoken into it. It was a noisy, joyful, wonderful day full of flapping wings and splashing fins. By the sixth day the land was ready. It was covered in green grass and tall trees, but it was quiet. There were no footsteps, no rustling in the bushes. So God said, "Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds." And out of the ground came all the animals. There were big, gentle elephants with floppy ears, and tall, graceful giraffes that could nibble the leaves from the highest branches. There were strong lions with magnificent manes, and playful monkeys swinging from tree to tree. There were tiny field mice and fuzzy caterpillars, cows for the fields and sheep for the hills. Every kind of animal you could ever dream of, God made them all. And he saw that they were very good. The world was almost perfect. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and the animals were roaming the land. But something was missing. The most important part was yet to come. God had saved the very best for last. He looked at his amazing world and said, "Let us make human beings in our image, in our likeness." This was different. For everything else God had just spoken. But now it was as if he was leaning in, getting his hands dirty, pouring all of his love into this one special creation. He wasn't just making another creature, he was making a friend. He was making someone who could be like him. So God took some dust from the ground. He carefully, lovingly shaped it into a person. He formed the arms and the legs, the hands and the feet. It was just a dusty shape with no life in it at all. But then God did something breathtaking. He leaned down close and he breathed his own breath, his own life, into the person's nostrils. And the man came alive. He opened his eyes and saw God's face smiling at him. God named him Adam. He was the first person, and he was special. He was made to know God, to talk with him, and to love him back. God put Adam in a beautiful garden called Eden. It was the most wonderful place in the whole world, filled with delicious fruit and sparkling rivers. God told Adam that he was in charge. He was to be the caretaker of God's beautiful world. He was to look after the plants and the animals and enjoy the wonderful home God had made for him. Adam walked with God in the cool of the day. They were friends, but God saw that Adam was alone. "It is not good for the man to be alone," God said. "I will make a helper who is just right for him." So God made Adam fall into a deep, deep sleep. While he was sleeping, God took one of Adam's ribs and from it, he made a woman. When Adam woke up, God brought her to him. Adam's heart was filled with joy. "At last," he said, "this is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh." She was the perfect partner for him. Her name was Eve. They were not just any creatures, they were God's children. They were made to reflect his love to each other and to all of creation. They were the masterpiece of his work, the king and queen of his perfect world, loved more than they could ever imagine. And so, the work was finished. The heavens and the earth and everything in them were complete. God stood back and looked at everything he had made. He saw the sun and the moon, he saw the mountains and the seas, he saw the flowers and the trees, the birds and the fish and all the animals. And he saw Adam and Eve, his precious children, standing in the beautiful garden. And God didn't just see that it was good. He saw that it was very good. It was perfect. It was a world overflowing with his glory and his love. His heart was full. On the seventh day, God did something different. He didn't create anything new. Instead, he rested. It wasn't because he was tired. God never gets tired. No, this was a special kind of rest. It was a rest of completion, of satisfaction. It was like a painter putting down his brush after finishing his masterpiece. He rested to enjoy what he had made. He set this day apart from all the others. He made the seventh day holy, a special day for stopping, for enjoying, and for remembering all the wonderful things he had done. It was the world's first weekend. This day of rest was a gift. It was a gift for Adam and Eve, and it is a gift for us too. It's a reminder to pause from all our busy work. It's a day to look around at the incredible world God has made and just say, wow. It's a time to be filled with wonder at the brightness of the sun, the softness of the grass, and the beauty of a flower. It is a day to remember that God is the one who made it all, and He made it all because He loves us. He wants us to rest with Him and enjoy the beautiful home He has given us. And so, the creation story isn't just a story about how the world began long ago, it's a story that is still happening. Every time a baby is born, every time the sun rises, every time a flower blooms, it's a little echo of God's creation song. It's a whisper that says, I made this for you, I love you. When we look at the stars at night or feel the rain on our face, we can feel a sense of amazement and gratitude. We can feel the love of the great artist who painted the sunsets and who knows each of us by name. The whole world is a love letter from God to His children.